Patanjali is saying that Aum, but this Aum is an interpretation, because Pranava, in the original text it says Pranava is an expression of the divinity. Pranava, sound, he said sound. But here, the commentator says Aum, because this is how this particular tradition has been given its conditioning. Aum. But if someone says it is Om, then that is their view. If someone says it is La, and that is the word, then we can accept. Because that is what his or her experience is. Another person says no, it's peace. This is the word I use to go deep inside. I say the word peace. Another person says love, kindness. Even those can be pranava. So we cannot be fanatical in saying that no, it is Aum, because this is what Patanjali said. Or this is this particular word, or this particular. Then we are closed. How to grow, how to say that I am closest to the absolute when I am not able to view it in an absolute state. I am looking at it, in fact, like a fanatic, closed mind. But if you can say, oh, how do you feel close to that divinity? I like to use the word love all. Another person says, every morning I wake up, I feel that I want to bless the whole world. May all enjoy good health. May all living beings be peaceful. May rain fall in all places so that everyone enjoys abundance of grain, and rivers are clear and the mountains are beautiful and the sky is clean. And this is also part of that expression of what they call as pranava. How you feel. And that has to be accepted. If this person is from this particular religion and his language is from that particular region, and this is how he or she expresses it, then we must see the beauty of that. Rather than saying, no, I don't think this is right because it sounds different from this particular walk. How do we find that common universal state? But in yoga, we have been using Aum, and all of you have been so open-minded, coming from so many different religions and culture and all that. And then sitting here, when I say that, okay, let's practice Om, Aum, and you are just able to dive into that. And that shows how universal and clear you are. And if you ask me to go to a mosque or a church or Buddhist temple or Taoist temple, and then they are chanting some chants and they are doing some rituals, I would just dive into that and able to feel connected with divinity, even though I don't understand the language or I don't understand the culture, because I have not been exposed to that. But I can tell you that because of the training that I have had and the understanding, I would feel equally comfortable like how I'm training with you, or place of worship which I have been exposed to from childhood, to this absolutely new way of worshipping and understanding, and then appreciating that. And this shows that our mind, our heart is evolving. And as we know, we are a very small component of existence. And I've mentioned to you many times, and scientists have mentioned to us many times, that we are like a speck of dust in the vast universe. And we means, I'm talking about the planet Earth itself, looking like a speck of dust. So all of us inside, actually, if we look at the universal point, or in the scope of infinity, if the earth is like a speck of dust, we are in fact insignificant, nothingness. We are empty space. But having said that, scientists as well as the philosophers and those who have attained realization have also said that when we are nothing or beyond that recognition, or just below the awareness of being realized, are part of the universe, then we become infinity. Right? Every part of the infinity is infinity. That is why there is a prayer in Sanskrit, Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. It says that from the absolute, you take something it still remains absolute. It doesn't change. It still remains absolute. You have taken. How much you take also, it remains absolute. Now, in the absolute, you put something. It still remains absolute. You cut it, you chop it, you dry it, you wet it, you put some more, you cook it, whatever you eat it still remains absolute. And this is the meaning of this. So, how do you get close to that? That which you practice and repeat all the time. If you have a personal connection with a certain form or name, or you feel that the whole universe is part of that divinity, then how do you connect with that? Since the mind is all the time disturbed, since the mind is fluctuating all the time, then how do I link myself with that divinity? How do I connect with that divinity? What methods can I use to be connected with the divinity, if possible, all the time? Now, Kriya can be done once in a while, maybe once a day or once a week. That has a determining force in molding the mind towards the ability to concentrate. So every week we practice, it brings us to experience the conscious, unconscious, subconscious consciously. It is a training of molding the mind to attain a greater competent state, competency. It becomes more efficient. But what about other times when I'm engaged in activity? Can I practice Kriya when I'm communicating with someone or working or interacting with society? I can't. So here, these two techniques are brought in by Patanjali. He says that at other times, use the word. Use the word, which for you symbolizes the divine, or symbolizes purity, or symbolizes the universe. So once you have chosen that, give it a form if you want to, or give it a feeling, and then continue to repeat it. Continue to repeat it. What word this is, you have to choose. But definitely it cannot be Coca-Cola or ice cream. It cannot be. Or vegetarian, or vegetables, or fruits. No. They have been healthy. Coca-Cola is not healthy, but vegetable, vegetarian, fruits, pure water, no. It doesn't lead you. But what leads you to a feeling that is closest to the idea of divinity? You have to choose. You have to understand and then choose. Here two schools of thought also arises. In philosophy, in the mind of the Siddhas or the yogis, they have analyzed. They say that if I say the name of a certain God, and then keep on repeating it, some yogis say that when you keep repeating the name of a certain God, then you may feel that you are looking for some grace. Oh Lord, give me peace, give me love, protect my family, give me a good income, give me good life. So they say that there is some bargaining going on. So for them, the standards are so high. They say you must not ask, you must only give. They say that the moment you say the name of a particular way of addressing God, then they say that this has some connotation of asking something for yourself. Then they say that, okay, the other school of yogi says that, what about this word? Om, or just a syllable, la, or or ah. Then you say, what is the connotation or the meaning that you can keep there? Very difficult, isn't it? If I say, what contemplation? Recited repeatedly while dwelling mentally on its meaning. What meaning can I bring to this sound? So what I am showing here is the 3 technology of reciting japa. Loudly for the beginner. For the intermediate, whispering. Advanced practitioner in the mind. I'm asking you, what meaning can I ever bring to this word? Or it leads me definitely to a state of concentration as I keep on repeating. It cannot be There is a technology here. It cannot be la la la. It becomes music, and that music has a tendency to stimulate the mind. But here it is la la, sometimes long la la. Immediately you find the mind becoming very stable and calm. And even the whispering. For an advanced practitioner who has been doing this, then mentally they can hold the sound. So when I say this, it's like la and then stop. So in the mind. So in this, when they are using this sound in the mind, they can do it when they are interacting, when they are speaking to their friend, when they are doing their work, when they are walking, when they are driving. The mind is engaged in the japa. So at all times, more times, rather than engaged in the noisy, troubling mental activities, there is one repetition, just one. Then, when this one is going on, and you have trained your mind to be aware of this one, sometimes whispering, sometimes if nobody is around, la, and then your mind. And then you ask, your boss comes and you are thinking about this, and your boss says, can you tell me the answer to this? You're not thinking about work, but you're thinking about this. Is mind training, isn't it? It's making the mind sharp and concentrated. And your boss suddenly appears from somewhere and asks you, hey Polly, can you tell me this? And then you turn to the boss and you say, this is the answer. This is what I feel it is. And the boss looks at you and says, wow, it seems absolutely correct. This sounds so clear, and this is what I have been looking for. And then he goes back and he says, and then your friend comes, or your brother comes and says, hey, Vijaya, I want to do this, what should I do? And then words come from your mouth, you're surprised, you yourself are surprised, so much of wisdom I have. You're saying, and then he says, oh, perfect, your answer is perfect. And then after that you laugh. So what is happening is that you will realize that there's so many years of having so much of so-called knowledge, reading books and then memorizing the answers and then using your own experiences to lead life, compared to this in leading life in that, this seems to be so enormous in its wisdom. Seems to come from a depth which you are unable to even understand. So this comes from then, what we realize, from the unconscious. Because these words, which cannot be captured as meaning, are the language of the unconscious. Like when we are doing the kriya, all those symbols and the lam and the hum and the symbols that come, the yantras, whatever they are coming, are the languages of the unconscious. And the unconscious has absolute potential. It is infinite in nature. So what you are doing is, the answers that you are giving, the actions that are coming from your depth are coming from the infinity. But if it is relying on the daily understanding from the book, from your friends, from your lecturers and from all those people around, and then speculating, confused and with our own limited knowledge, and we say that can lead to sometimes wrong action and inferior results and confusion. We say, oh, this is good, alright, everybody is happy, but it may not be the most efficient process. But everybody is happy because this is how the world has been trained to be inefficient. No matter how much I am doing my best, because there are so many other processes, the results are not as good as it's supposed to be. But coming from the infinity, it leads to absolute awakening. So why now we have some scriptures and some sayings and some individuals whom we still remember, who lived 500 years ago, 1000 years ago, 5000 years ago, 10,000 years ago? Why do we speak about Lao Tzu? Why do we speak about Christ? Why do we speak about Muhammad? Why do we speak about Krishna? Why do we speak about Lord Buddha? Why do we speak about Guru Gobind Singh? Why do we speak about these people? And sometimes you see their history, they have never been to school, never been to college, never have studied anything. But right now in the so-called age of science technology, we are talking about them rather than talking about Einstein or talking about Stephen Hawking, because all these people will disappear over a period of time. The science and technologies, whoever there is who are there, will be lost in the scale of time. But these individuals, 5,000, 10,000 years ago, we are still talking about them. And most of them have never been to school. We didn't have that kind of knowledge then, right, which we are having right now. But we will be talking about them 5,000 years from now. They will still be in existence, they will still be revered and maybe more popular than right now 5,000 years later. Because they were speaking the language of the infinity. What came from their mouth were words that came from the infinite source. And it is so inspiring and it is etched in our minds and our hearts forever. This is how powerful the process of infinity is. And you look at all their lives, they all say, repeat the name of God. Repeat the names of this infinity. And that is the reason why, if you look at all the major religions, they have the rosary, they have the beads, and they keep on repeating it this day. That is their technology. You see, all of those people who are very deep in those particular religions, all have japa. In Buddhism you have japa, in Christianity you have the rosary, in Islam you have the rosary, in the Vedic institutions, in the so-called Hinduism, which is Vedas, they have the japas. In the Sikhism you have the repetition of God's names. In the Chinese, the Taoist monks have the rosary. All of them are repeating that. So this technology is not something which can be understood intellectually, but it can be understood through experiences. Repeating, and the repetition has to have a method, and the method I have described to you. Slow repetition, and in between giving it a space, and a repetition and giving it a space. Not in a hurry to not in a hurry. It cannot be where there is some issues which I have seen now. People get initiated by a guru, and the guru says you must do 12 rounds and give them mantra. 12 rounds today. Very stressful. One round, okay, another round. Why is that? It cannot be like that. Japa has to be, if I'm using the rosary and then I'm repeating my Ista mantra, what that I feel is fine. Eyes open, sometimes closed, sometimes loud, sometimes whispering, sometimes thinking about, in my mind. And then, not feeling guilty, not feeling that you have done some great sin. If you are here, you have just started, and then your mother calls, okay, Hejang, go to the market. Okay, go to the market, bye. Because that's your duty. And if you go to the market, as you go to the market, this is not in your hand, but this is still in your head, isn't it? So again, you're doing your work. You don't say that, okay, japa over, now I can bring all the nonsense into my brain, think, oh, problem, worry, there's so many things, go to market, come back, so much stress. This physically stops, mentally this continues. No need to come and finish the quota. Kota here, nobody is controlling you. God is not going to banish you from earth. Nothing is going to happen. You are doing your whatever that you are doing correctly. Are we clear about this? Namaskar. Thank you very much.